Hi, I'm John, and today what we're going to be looking at photographs. It doesn't matter what type of camera you're going to be using. It could be a mobile telephone, as in the case that I'm using, but if you have a camera that you want to use, you could do that as well. Composition is the same for mobile telephones and cameras, or traditional cameras, film cameras, digital cameras. There's no real difference in it because it's all to do with photography. So this particular session is going to be about composition. You could shoot on auto. There's no particular reason why you should have to think, oh, I need to use manual mode or any other mode. Auto is more than ample for this, because this is about thinking about the picture that you're taking before you take it. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the process of taking the photograph rather than the technical aspects of taking a photograph. So here I am. And I'm going to switch around so you can see what I'm looking at. Here we are. We're now looking at the Forth Rail Bridge. I'm not going to zoom in. I'm just going to leave it as it is. If I'm going to make sure that it's just the standard camera settings I'm going to be using in the video mode. Okay. But when you come to do your stills photographs, you might find that there's lots of other options that you'll have within your stills setup to do with black and white mode, sepia toning, doing various different types of colors, and you may have a zoom facility as well. I have a zoom facility in this particular camera, but I'd rather not use it because we're going to be talking about composition in general terms. And as you can see the Forth Rail Bridge in the far distance here, and I'm framing it between the trees. The thing is, you have to remember that although the bridge to my own eye looks huge, my brain is able to edit out the surrounding areas of the picture, so able to actually remove a lot of the trees from the view, and I kind of zoom in. My eyes seem to zoom in on the bridge automatically. But your camera can't do that. Your camera doesn't really know what you're photographing or why you're taking the picture or what you're really seeing. So it won't know whether you want to keep those trees in or not. So the easiest way to work out whether or not you're too far away from a subject is, rather than looking at the subject with your eyes or even looking at it through the camera as such, what you want to do is look at all four corners of your frame. So before you take a picture, you should look in the top left hand corner, the top right hand corner, the bottom left hand corner, and the bottom right hand corner. This will give you an indication as to how big your subject really is within the frame of your camera. And as you can see with this one, the bridge is a long way away. Okay, so it's not a big bridge, even though to my own eyes it's actually enormous. So we have to be aware of the total framing. So before you take a picture, very quickly scan the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right of your picture frame. If something looks small, it is small, no matter what your eye tells you. If it looks a long way away, it is a long way away, no matter what your eye tells you. Okay? It's really important to understand how things are to your camera, not to you. Okay, it's a weird thing to think, but we have to learn to see as a camera sees. A camera can never ever learn to see as we see. Okay, so have a look through the camera, have a look in all four corners. If something looks small, it is small. If something looks a long way away in your camera, it is a long way away. Here we are having a look over the top of South Queensferry from above South Queensferry. There's a hill, and that's an important thing. When you're out taking pictures, don't just think of the street level or where all the tourists maybe go. Do have a look round, find a different vantage point. A different angle is always important. You may find that, again, you're a long way away from your subject. The bridges here are a long way away. They look big again to me, but there's a lot of stuff, top of houses, rooftops, between me and the actual Forth Rail Bridge in this case. So the important thing here is, again, to think about the picture, look in all four corners of the photograph, and think, well, if we can't just zoom in, and you might be able to just zoom in, and zooming in might well suffice, but you may also find actually what may be more interesting is utilizing foreground data, foreground information in the picture. So it might be that you've got some plants that you could put into the picture, flowers. A nicer day would help. It's a bit of a grey day today, but if the flowers were lit and you've got a nice view, you've got some colour in the foreground, then do utilise it. Don't be afraid to utilise foreground in your photograph. And in landscape photography in particular, foreground is really important. So don't just stand at your own height. It might be useful to get down a bit lower. I'm using a stick here, just one of these selfie sticks with a contraption to keep the whole thing steady, and it makes a big difference. It means I don't actually have to go on my hands and knees or anything when I'm taking these sort of shots using my mobile telephone. You could get something similar possibly for a camera, depending on the size of camera, and that may be easier than having to lie down on the ground or kneeling. Okay, so just think about the practicalities of taking the picture as much as anything, and when you're out taking pictures, do have a look at your own height and also getting down lower and using foreground in the photograph. Here we are with a typical view of the Fourth Rail Bridge on a nice summer's day in July in Scotland. Here is raining in Fife, and I can feel the odd spot of rain on me as well, blowing in the wind. But anyway, we're down here at the looking at the Fourth Rail Bridge, and this is the sort of picture a lot of people take. It's just a general view. There's not a lot in the picture. The bridge is all in it, but it's a long way away. There's lots of empty space. So if you look at the foreground, it's just water, and there's lots of sky, but it's not particularly fascinating sky, although it could be if a bit more dramatic skyline came in. But basically it's a fairly mundane image to look at. If you're going to look at this every day, it wouldn't necessarily make it exciting, and you do need foreground really to give a sense of scale. So if there's sailing ships or boats in the foreground, it would help. So here we are with a slightly different angle. We've come down closer to the bridge, and what I've done is, rather than just looking over the top of the railings, I'm actually photographing through the railings, because just like a painting, we would give a painting a frame. Here we are, we're framing the view through a frame. We're actually using the railings as our frame. This way we're able to actually make sure people are aware of what they're meant to be looking at. They're meant to be looking at the bridge because the bridge is now framed within a frame, just as you would do if you were going to be a painter and you're painting the bridge. You might well look through windows or doorways or through an arch. Here we are utilising the railings. So don't be afraid to utilise street furniture in your picture to give us a sense of scale, to hone in the picture so people know what they're actually meant to be looking at, rather than just sort of drifting around the picture wondering what it's all about. To give a sense of drama to your photographs, don't just take pictures from a distance. Think about them being close up. Getting underneath things makes things look much bigger, more dramatic. Get in close. Here, I'm not actually zooming in. Again, all I've done is come down closer to the actual bridge. I'm taking it from underneath. Have a walk round your subject, get a feel for it as well before you actually take the photograph. Get a sort of understanding of your subject matter that you're going to be taking. Don't just think, oh, I'll start snapping away immediately. What you want to be able to do is have a wander around, get a feel, get an idea of the location, the sort of temperament of the place, if you like. How do you feel about the place? Because it's your own interpretation of that place that's going to have an impact on the photograph itself when you come to show it to people. Okay, the only thing is in the picture that you can put in. Here we've got a little boat coming in. That immediately gives you a sense of scale as well. So if there's anything like that kind of thing coming into your picture, do try and use them. When you're taking pictures, it might well be a matter of just having a wander around. Here I am looking up at the bridge from underneath and looking for graphic shapes, things that create interesting shapes and patterns in the landscape. So it can be very, very simple graphic shapes, corner to corner if you like, which will make it far more dynamic. So don't feel obliged just to take a picture of the thing, because you're the artist. You're looking to create a story, tell people how dramatic the thing is that you're looking at, how dynamic it is that you're looking at, and maybe from going underneath and looking up against the sky and making it just a shape, and a very dark shape becomes a lot more interesting rather than just a general picture of your subject. And here's another view of the same bridge, again this time looking in the opposite direction, so we're looking towards the west, and in the foreground we've got these big rocks, so you've got a man-made object with natural objects. So again the lighting's a bit tonally flat unfortunately because of the day that we've got weather-wise, but utilising foreground gives a sense of scale, it fills up dead space, and we're here playing with the concept of the natural world and man-made world. And we've got drama in the picture with the actual bridge, and maybe on a more dramatic day with a more interesting sky, it would really come together. So it's a matter of looking at the total thing that you're going to be photographing. If you're out and about taking pictures, walk around your subject, get a feel for the subject as I said earlier, have a look at the different angles that you could get. The advantage with a mobile telephone, and most people have mobile telephones, is that you could utilize it as a kind of record, so that you can take pictures even on a dullish day to get a feel for them, and then come back on another day when the weather is better conditions for the sort of picture you're actually wanting to capture. A lot of photographers used instamatic cameras in the past and Polaroid cameras for that very purpose. So again, it's a matter of utilising the kit you have and not expecting it to do everything, but working within the limitations of the kit, and it will work very well.
Right then, so now that we've been down to have a look at the Fourth Rail Bridge and we've taken a few pictures down there and discussed what to look for, the idea is that you go and, using your mobile telephone, if you have a camera you can use your camera, just on auto mode is fine, but think about the picture you're going to take before you take it. And I mean by that, looking at all four corners of the frame, think about the story you're going to tell, think about filling the frame with your subject, think about how it's being framed, whether you want to use a frame within a frame, that kind of thing, so that it's not just a snap, it's a considered image. Okay, and then we can hopefully have a look at those pictures at some time and get feedback and discuss your resulting images. Okay, thanks for watching.